The Daddy Letters Series. Season 3. Letter 63. Your home is your business.
Dear Boaz and Ruth, recognizing that the home is really a small business can help young couples see the importance of incorporating proven business practices, principles, tools, and management systems into the daily operation of the home. As stewards of God's blessings of wealth, time, opportunity, children, health, image, and possessions, Christian couples have a profound responsibility to reflect God's sense of orderly management of these resources in the likeness of the orderly way God manages the universe. The number one cause of marital discord is finances, and so a couple protects the tranquility of the home, the strength of their bond, and the security of the family when they manage money well, and that is the first resource upon which we will focus. So here is our premarital advice about marital wealth management. Even before the marriage vows, couples should pledge to each other and to God to live within their means. Never presume upon God to bless your excessive spending with rescue funding. Developing Christian attitudes about material possessions is the necessary first step to successfully living within your means. Christian virtues prevent couples from going into debt in order to keep up with the Joneses. They don't allow their pride to make them seek things to gain the high opinion or praise of others. They don't buy to be seen, they buy to be supplied. They allow need to govern their purchases and not vanity. The list of tips below are good practices for stewarding financial resources toward marital harmony. 1. Create home budget documents as follows. Start with an income and expense statement that lists sources of income, expenses, and the net of the two, and subtract total expenses from total income to determine what you have left as discretionary spending and savings. The law of solvency is making sure expenses never exceed income. Next, calculate your net worth by listing all your possessions and their value, and then listing all your debts and their value. Subtract debts from possessions to reveal your net worth. Next, create a financial long-range plan by recording the income and expense statement and the net worth statement on the same page, and to the right, estimating where each line item will be over the next 5 years, based upon anticipated changes in earnings, expenses, and the environment. Next, create a goals and objectives document by simply listing the things you want to achieve as a couple over time. For example, you may want to cruise the Mediterranean in year 5 of your marriage, have your second child in year 6, and buy a larger home in year 7. This plan is a guide for helping you determine the actions you must take in order to realize the goals. Update all these documents every 6 months. 2. Stay healthy. Healthcare expenses have bankrupted many families. Avoid the high cost of therapies and pharmaceuticals by staying healthy. When we say healthy, we mean in mind, body, and spirit. You are an integrated being. Therefore, an unhealthy mind can create unhealth in your body or spirit. An unhealthy spirit hurts the body and mind, and an unhealthy body affects the other two as well. Find good spiritual health practices you can do together and alone, such as praying, contemplating, meditating, and so on. And play together to keep your bodies healthy. Hike, bike, golf, play tennis, or whatever you like to do together. But give each other space for independent hobbies and activities, because solitude is an important part of mental and spiritual health. You should strive to be together a lot, but not every moment. 3. Live modestly. Don't drive, dress, eat, vacation, or house yourselves to be praised by others. This trap will lead down an unhealthy spiritual road and make it difficult to live within your means. 4. Pay God first and then pay yourself second. In other words, pay your tithes and offerings off the top, then put as much as possible into savings. Calculate your tithe against the gross and not the net, because the gross represents what God actually gave you. After all, it is your gross against which the government calculates your taxes, so does not God deserve equal consideration? 5. Always keep enough money in savings to live on for 1 year in case both of you become unemployed at the same time, because job searches can easily take that long or longer. 6. Make sure you invest your savings where you earn more than the rate of inflation. For example, if inflation is 5%, you must earn at least 6% in order to gain ground each year. 7. Set aside enough in your savings to self-insure your small purchases instead of buying high-priced warranties that you may never use or that won't fully reimburse you anyway. In addition, add enough financial reserves to cover catastrophic or unexpected events such as car repairs or the need to replace a refrigerator or roof. 8. Treat credit cards like cash. Whatever you charge in a month, pay off at the end of the month. Credit card interest rates are a great destroyer of wealth. At 23% interest, the amount you owe would double in less than 2 years if you didn't make a payment. 9. Use one main credit card for most of your purchases so you can maximize reimbursement points, and it makes it easier to track your expenditures. Keep a second and maybe a third credit card as backup in case your main card gets frozen or lost. 10. Pay bills on time. This gives you a good credit rating, therefore, making your cost of borrowing cheaper. It also saves you the wasted funds on late fees. 11. Save up for large purchases, including cars. As often as possible, pay cash for these purchases unless the interest rates for the purchase are considerably less than you are earning on your savings. 12. Favor used cars instead of new cars so that you don't eat the high cost of depreciation. Let the first owner do that. A new automobile depreciates 20% or more the first year. You can find a lot of good, like new 1-year-old automobiles. Be sure to purchase makes and models with good repair and safety records, as well as those with high resale value. 13. Drive safely to avoid accidents and traffic tickets. These not only cost you the amount of the ticket, but will likely cause your auto insurance company to increase your rates. 14. Focus on developing great home entertainment alternatives to avoid the high cost of outside the home entertainment. For example, an internet movie may cost you $9, whereas going to the movie theater may cost you as much as $30, depending upon your food purchases. Card and board games are great couples activities, and today, there are a lot of great video games couples can play together. Look for free public events, such as free music in the park. 15. Set aside a room in your house as a home gym, which will be far cheaper over time than the high cost of health club fees. 16. Do not become insurance poor by over-insuring your life or your possessions. Calculate insurance needs based upon replacement and adjudication costs for home and auto. For life insurance, take your savings into account to accurately determine how much insurance would allow the surviving spouse to maintain a good lifestyle. 17. For investments, take on more risk in your younger years and less as you grow older. There are suggested ratios available in financial literature. For example, at age 25, you might invest 70% in risk-based instruments and 30% in safe ones. But at age 70, it is the exact reverse of that. 18. To enhance your sense of oneness, maintain a joint checking account into which all income flows and from which all bills are paid, and money dispersed to each mate for personal expenses. Do this with cash, or in addition to a joint account, have independent checking accounts into which funds are dispersed. A private account allows you to buy a gift without being detected. It is okay if you don't do this, but we believe joint accounts will promote a sense of ourness and diminish the sense of mindness. Embracing monetary practices that reinforce the sense of oneness is a smart move, just like sleeping in the same bed enhances oneness more than sleeping in separate bedrooms. 19. Decide who will be the chief financial officer or CFO of the home business. This person is responsible for paying the bills and investing, but keeping his or her mate informed and trained sufficiently to take over were the CFO not able to carry out those duties. Hold a budget meeting each month to discuss the state of financial affairs. It can be over dinner or formally in the home office. It is a great little togetherness activity and keeps each aware of the need to curtail or freedom to increase spending, savings, and so on. 20. Get legal advice and as soon as possible create a will and a living trust to reduce estate taxes in the event of death, prevent frozen financial accounts, and prevent fighting among your survivors for the possessions and money you leave behind. We won't give you advice in the specialized area. We will insist you find a lawyer to advise you and get you started on it right away. 21. Create a living will and healthcare power of attorney to ensure wishes are carried out in the event of a catastrophic health event. Living wills and other advance directives are written, legal instructions regarding your preferences for medical care if you are unable to make decisions for yourself. Advance directives guide choices for doctors and caregivers if you're terminally ill, seriously injured, or mentally incapacitated. Unexpected end-of-life situations can happen at any age, so it's important for all adults to prepare these documents. This documentation ensures you get the medical care you want, avoid unnecessary suffering, and relieve caregivers of decision-making burdens during moments of crisis or grief. You also help reduce confusion or disagreement among your family members and friends about the choices you would want people to make on your behalf. 22. In addition to a living will, create a healthcare power of attorney. A healthcare power of attorney names the person to make decisions for you when you are unable to do so. In some states, this directive may also be called a durable power of attorney for healthcare or a healthcare proxy. Choosing a person to act as your healthcare agent is important because not all situations can be anticipated, and some situations will require someone to make a judgment about your likely care wishes. 23. Start saving for retirement right away with 401ks, 403bs, IRAs, and other retirement savings programs. Take advantage of employer-sponsored savings programs, especially if there is a match or stock options. Treat these funds as if they don't exist and avoid tapping them for emergencies unless the situation is dire, and even then, borrow against them instead of withdrawing the funds. Many couples end up entering retirement without sufficient funds because in weakness, they withdrew retirement funds to meet obligations or gratify an overwhelming desire for immediate gratification. 24. Choose home locations that allow you to minimize property taxes. Living in states that have no state tax can also be advantageous. As part of your estate planning, consider willing a portion of your estate to your church. It is a beautiful legacy to leave behind, enabling your church to expand its services and outreach. You can also declare how the funds should be used if that is important to you. Also consider adding the church as a beneficiary of your life insurance. This is yet another way to help build the kingdom of God even in your death. 25. Try to live near your place of employment to reduce commuting expenses and wear and tear on your automobiles. Also, the less time you spend commuting, the more time you will have to spend with the family or engaging in profitable hobbies. And often overlooked, it is a safety measure as well. The more time you spend on the road during perilous rush hour traffic, the more opportunities there are for automobile accidents. 26. Prefer quality purchases. Sometimes it is cheaper to buy one quality suit that lasts a long time instead of two cheap suits that wear out quickly. The single quality suit can be dressed up and given variety with assorted shirts, ties, and contrasting slacks, an inexpensive way to expand your wardrobe without spending a lot to do it. 27. Find a profitable hobby. It can be anything from investing in stocks to woodworking projects you can sell at flea markets. Some talented musicians hire their services out to play at weddings and special events. 28. Be a do-it-yourselfer as often as possible, especially for minor repairs, lawn maintenance, painting, and so on. You can save a lot of money by avoiding these expenses. 29. Don't pay for warranties on older automobiles where it might be cheaper to replace them than repair them. This is an area where your self-insurance funds come in handy. 30. Get good books, take courses, and if possible, find a financial advisor so you can learn more about the complicated world of stocks, bonds, and commodities. 31. If you are risk-averse or just don't enjoy the legal gambling that is investing, use the coffee can approach to investing, which means build a good diversified portfolio of growth instruments and leave it alone except to add to it. 32. Keep your cars maintained in order to avoid compounding wear and tear and to keep resale value high. One problem left unfixed can easily multiply and cause other problems. For example, tire pressure left unchecked can result in tires wearing prematurely, or an unrepaired oil leak can lead to premature engine wear. 32. Vacation modestly. Vacations are for rest and recuperation, restoration of vitality, mental and emotional recovery, and general health. They are not for bragging rights. Wonderful vacations can be had within driving distance. Of course, if God blesses you with great enough financial resources, enjoy an expensive vacation, but do so for the right reasons. These are a few practices for you to consider. We will supply, as part of your reading lists, some good books about investing, saving, and budgeting. From these, you can pick up some of the finer points that we did not try to cover in this overview. The important thing is that you give this part of your lives thought, and you do it together, and follow it up with a plan that you can implement and adjust as your family grows and changes. Don't just meander into home management, aggressively plan it and continue adjusting it. You will be glad you did. May good fortune accompany your love, your familial board,